Welcome once again to another installment of Special Reviews. Tonight I'm going to review a couple of video games based on the heroes in the half-shell. Why? Because it's the 30th anniversary of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and to celebrate, or should I say, shell-abrate, why don't we take a look at a couple of TMNT video games, shall we? We'll start with the original on the NES. Now, the story is that Shredder is kidnapped. Yeah, you've already heard that before. Let's just jump into the gameplay. Now, as soon as you start the game, what does this remind you of? Seems familiar, doesn't it? Now, what do you do in this game? Well, you just go inside sewers and buildings, kill enemies, fight bosses, and move on. When you press start, you can choose another turtle, but if you use up all four of them when their health drops to 0... Game over, yeah! Well said. Now, this game is kind of a mix. People like it, people don't. But it's not that bad of a game. I mean, it's worth playing, even though it's the first Ninja Turtles game ever made. And did I ever beaten it? Only once in the summer of 1993, where me, my brothers, and my cousin had to beat it by cheating using the game Genie. Yeah, I know I was a cheating bastard back then, folks. Next, we got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade, which came out after the TMNT game on the NES, and it's a beat-em-up where you team up with 3 of your Cowabunga companions as you tackle your way against the Foot Soldiers, the Mousers, Bebop and Rocksteady, Baxter Stockman, the Stone Warriors, Krang, and of course, Old Frying Pan Face. In 1990, the game was ported to the NES, retitled as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, and all I can say is the story is the same as well as the gameplay, except they added 2 new stages, plus new enemies and bosses, not to mention Pizza Hut signs. Now, why are there Pizza Hut logos in one of the stages? Well, it was the first game to feature product advertisements. Not only that, but they also included Pizza Hut coupons in the game's manual. In 1991, there was another TMNT arcade game called Turtles in Time, which is a sequel to the 1989 arcade, and it's an improvement. It's been a very long time playing both of them as a kid and in 2008 on MAME. In 2009, there was a remake called Reshelled, except I've only played the demo version on my PlayStation 3. Moving on to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project, released in 1992. This is one of my personal favorites of the 3, where each turtle have their own special moves. Right on! Except it only drains 1 life from your life meter. Bummer! But there's another feature. If you press down and B on your controller, you can jab and throw enemies.
Hey, now there's a neat trick!
You also have memorable bosses and a few sub-bosses as well. Plus an awesome soundtrack.
Excellent.
And speaking of the sub-bosses, I was thinking the one in the sewer stage should be the Rat King, and the one for the last stage, General Trag, instead of 2 large Mousers. Months later, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo, and I have to say this one is far superior, and I take this version over the original Turtles in Time arcade any day. Then there was one for the Sega Genesis called the Hyperstone Heist, known in Japan as Return of the Shredder. I remember after school going over to my friend's house back in 1994 playing it. It's fun, only it looks kinda different. In 1993 to 1994, there were 3 TMNT fighting games called Tournament Fighters. Now, they may have the same title, but they're different versions. Out of the 3, I first played the Genesis version when I was 10, and to be honest, I didn't like this one. It was total shit. Then I played the Super Nintendo version known as Mutant Warriors in Japan, and it was by far the best Ninja Turtles fighting game. And for last, we got one for the NES, which is the last TMNT game for this system, and the only game where the Turtles don't have their weapons. I remember playing this for the first time in 2004 on emulator, and it's been a long time playing it. Now to close things out. The first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game on the NES isn't a bad game, it's still worth playing as I stated before. As for the 1989 arcade, it's a fun as hell beat 'em up. For Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, it's a good port and I really enjoyed it. For the Turtles in Time arcade, it's a great improvement. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project, by far the best of the 3 on the NES. As for TMNT 4, Turtles in Time, it is the second best and also one of my top favorite Super Nintendo games. Hyperstone Heist, aka Return of the Shredder. It's a fun Turtles game, only it's a bit different. For the fighting games, the Genesis version of Tournament Fighters is the worst TMNT video game I've ever played. So, Muttley, if you please. But the only positive I liked about it was the music, and that's pretty much it. For the Super Nintendo version, aka Mutant Warriors, definitely by far superior of the three. And for the one on the NES, it's still enjoyable. But if I had to choose, which version would I pick? Well folks, this wraps up another installment of special reviews for this month, and I want to say happy 30th Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, plus I'll be looking forward to the new TMNT movie coming soon. So until then, in the words of Markman 2020, signing out.